Hi everybody, welcome in. Today is day 2 of 100 of Trails Taken. How's it going so far? Hope you got to uncover some interesting things about your own name and maybe some harbored feelings about that you didn't really think about before. Maybe got some triggers for your page. So today we're gonna set up our page for the second one. I like to flip mine over because we're going to tear off the bottom when we do our shadow work. So complete, see where the line is? I fold mine over there so that I know where to make the mark on that other page. So I've already gone ahead and done that. So now when I rip off the page, I'm not gonna rip off any pertinent information that I wanna keep. So today, put your date, the question of the day, and your sequence number. So today's question is your full name at birth, first, middle, and last. So it could be completely the same as your name yesterday, or it could be totally different. And also having the birth part, because you're little then, and there's birth certificates and things like that. So let's dive in and see where we go. On our first line, I guess, my name is Tammy, and it's still the same Tammy, spelt the same and all that, but we'll talk about them when we come back. I'm gonna go do a little brainstorming. You write your own name and see if you come up with anything new for today. See you shortly. Hi, welcome back. Okay, so my own name, Tammy, I've come up with some other things that I didn't think about yesterday, but I have thought about in the past. Okay, so birth. I kind of go by my birth certificate, and a lot of people have asked me over my lifetime if my name is actually Tamara, which it's not. It's actually Tammy. And you get a lot of different responses from that, actually. One of my aunts spells my name differently. She spells it T-A-M-I, and I go by T-A-M-M-Y, that is on my birth certificate. But she always spells it that way. That's how she prefers to spell it, and it has a special meaning between the two of us that way, right? Something like initials. So my initials when I was born were T-S-B. You know, what does that mean? Does it mean anything to you? Does it spark anything? Does it make a trigger? Does it bother you? Tammy was terribly popular in the 60s. I went to school with, I'm sure that was the most popular name in school then. All the girls around my age, you know, a couple of years up and a couple of years below, there are so many of us. So that's another thing, you know, does that bother me? Does it, you know, I'm not unique, I'm not special. Or at the same time, it's like a certain moment in history when it was an extremely popular thing. You know, like you could do a graph on it or something, like algorithms. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to go do my second name, and you should too, middle name. Hi, welcome back. Okay, so how'd you make out? I know this might be one of those things where you get a little bit triggered because I'm asking questions that are, you know, we've been told not to share the answers to for security reasons and things like that. So remember that this is for your eyes only. You don't have to share it with anybody. That being said, keep it in a safe place where you feel confident that it's not going to be looked upon by somebody you don't want to have access to it. This is one of the works that I've done deep around not worrying about sharing any detail of who I am. You know, it took a little while to get here, and it's a good place to be. You don't have any shame or guilt or anything about any parts of yourself. So keep it in safekeeping. And yeah, that's a trigger. If you did get triggered by that, me asking these kinds of questions, then make sure you write that down. Okay, so Scarlett, well, I mentioned about the spelling. So that brings up some things around my birth certificate, the time of my birth, Actually, I don't have an actual time on my birth certificate. So some things feel like they're a little bit incomplete around that for me. So now Scarlett's like super popular. I didn't know anybody growing up with that name. So, right, the popularity of cycles of things, like Tammy was super popular in the 60s, and you know, there's not a lot of celebrities that are named Tammy right now. So, I mean, it's fun to look at that kind of stuff. The Scarlet Letter, right? A controversial novel. I think it kind of gives, it's one of those trigger things. And, you know, the Scarlet Letter is an A, a capital A, and it had to do with adultery. And this is how my marriage ended, and other people's marriages around my world. So that's always a thing for me too, right? O'Hara, so Scarlett O'Hara, Gone with the Wind, as I mentioned. That's Irish. So I do have Irish in my background also. So interesting to follow that down. And, you know, it's just one of those little things you can put on your puzzle piece. Well, I put on my puzzle piece, but look into that kind of stuff, you know, the origin of it, the different meanings of it, how you got it. Yeah, the whys, right? Okay, let's go on to our last name, our birth name. Okay, so here we go with our last name. So again, the trigger about giving out such pertinent information. Nowadays, people can find out pretty much anything they want to on the internet. Not to mention, it's very easy to dupe some people into telling you things that, you know, should be kept secret. But as I said, I have no secrets and my passwords are all changed, so go ahead. Okay, so my maiden name is Bain, and of course it has a few different meanings. Fair-haired, which I definitely do not have. White, which I think also comes with being fair. I have fair skin. Bone, which I believe also has to do with the color of bone, which is white. But in some instances, I find that it says skinny. So like skin and bone, right? Except it's, my descendants are Scottish in that name. And most Scottish people are a little more on the stout side and not generally skinny people. So I tend not to go with skinny, although I'm a little thinner. I go with just, so fair, as in just. And that kind of goes with my mother's side. So this would be my father's name, surname that I was given when I was born. But if I go with my mother's name, when I was born, before she was secretly married, her last name was Reason. So I hope she doesn't have that as a password still, because, well, now she's outed. I'll have to mention that to her. But Reason. So Reason and Just, those are kind of pretty cool things to have in your being as pieces of your puzzle. So look for these meanings. Look deep into the little cracks and crevices. Look for things that go together. The last name Bain also, as I was saying, is from Scotland, and the furthest back I have that record is 1829. Interestingly also, as I was saying, my first name's Tammy, and the male form is Thomas. And as I look back in our old family Bible, there are many generations of Thomas. So I don't think my mother knew that, but I'm gonna take that anyways, because it feels nice to be connected to your ancestors, even if it's a man. Doesn't matter. He was my great grandfather. Great grandfather. I don't know how many greats, but he was probably great. I'm here, so he must have been pretty good. He survived. What else do I have? Oh, yes. So the Scottish thing also, then that makes me have a clan. Tartan. I love tartan. Look at me, right? So I have a clan. I have a tartan. It's well, basically blue and green, which are super important to me. I've always loved those colors. So that's another thing, right? You just write everything down that you can think of. Our clan motto, family motto is Manu Forte, with a strong hand, it means. And it's a small knife, sword, grasped in a hand. But as far as I know, Manu would be coming from manuscript, and forte is like it's your forte, it's your thing, it's you're good at it. That's what your purpose is. So manuscript forte. Maybe I'm good at writing. Maybe I'm good at manifesting with writing. Maybe I'm good with journaling. Maybe I'm good with writing my future plan, which is manifesting, right? That is where I like to go with that. Oh, and it also means bath in French. So I'm very like self-care is not just taking baths and things like that, but it is still important. So Epsom salts bath, I'm a big do it. Keep your magnesium up, keep your potassium up, keep your electrolytes up. Super important. Yeah, so that's what I have for my questions. Hopefully I've given you some kind of ideas where you can look into your own name and see what kind of interesting things you come up with. Don't forget to write the triggers, the little things that make you, my name's this, and then it makes it, right? It doesn't have to be that way, right? It's just a name, it's just a word, but it's your word. So anyways, I will say goodbye for today, and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 3. Oh yes, it's still fun. It's still tied up with the name stuff, so we're kind of sticking in the same realm. Anyways, I wish you a great day, and be well.